planter and politician who became known as an orator during the movement for independence in Virginia in the 1770s. A founding father, he served as the first and sixth post-colonial governor of Virginia. Patrick Henry is best known for the speech he gave at the House of Burgesses on March 23, 1775 in St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia. With the House undecided on whether to mobilize for military action against encroaching British military force, Henry argued in favor of mobilization. This morning, Bradley Beck, distinguished Toastmaster, will give an interpretive reading of this famous moment in time. Interpretive reading is often thought of as reading aloud, as I'm doing right now. As an interpretive reader, however, one communicates the ideas, emotions of someone else using their voice and body to convey the attitudes and intentions of the author. Please welcome Bradley Beck, distinguished Toastmaster. Give me liberty or give me death.
Very good. Mr. President, no man thinks as highly as I do of the patriotism as well as the abilities of the very worthy gentlemen that have just addressed this House. But different men often see the same subject in different lights, and therefore I hope it not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if entertaining as I do an opinion of a character very opposite of theirs. I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment for this country. For my own part, I shall consider it nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery. And in proportion to the magnitude of the subject ought to be the freedom of the debate. It is only in this way that we can hope to arrive at truth and fulfill our great responsibility to God and country. Should I hold back my opinion at such a time for fear of giving offense, I shall consider myself guilty of treason against my country and the majesty of heaven, which I revere above all earthly kings. Mr. President, it is natural for men to indulge in the illusion of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and listen to the song of the siren until she transforms men to beast. Is this the part of wise men engaged in the great and arduous struggle for liberty? Are we disposed to be of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not those things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, the worst of it, and to provide for it. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no other way of judging the future but by the past. And judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify those hopes with which the gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and the House. Is it that insidious smile with which our petition has been lately received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed with a kiss. Ask yourself how this gracious reception to our petition comports with the warlike preparations which cover our waters and darken our land. Are fleets and armies necessary to win back our love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be used to win back our love? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last arguments to which kings resort. I ask, gentlemen, sir, what means this martial array, if its purpose not be force us to submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive for it? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world to call on this accumulation of navies and armies? No, sir, she has none. They are meant for us, they can be meant for no other. They are sent over to rivet and bind upon us those chains which the British ministry has been so long forging. And what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sir, we have been trying that for the last 10 years. Have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing. We have held up the subject in every light of which it is capable. Shall we resort to entreaty and humble supplication? What term shall we find that we have not already exhausted? Let us not, I beseech you, sir, deceive ourselves. Sir, we have done everything that could be done to avert the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned. We have remonstrated. We have supplicated. We have prostrated ourselves before the throne. We have implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the magistracy and parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt at the foot of the throne. In vain, after all these things, may we indulge in fond hope of peace and reconciliation. There is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have been so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until that glorious object of the contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat, sir, we must fight. An appeal to arms and the God of hosts is all that is left us. They tell us, sir, that we are weak, unable to cope with so formidable an adversary. But when shall we be stronger? Shall it be next week or next year? Will it be when we are totally disarmed and when the British Guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution and inaction? Shall we acquire the means of effectual resistance by lying supinely on our back, hugging the delusive phantom of hope, until the enemies shall bound us hand and foot? Sir, we are not weak. If we make proper use of the means which God of nature hath placed in our power, 3 million peoples armed in the holy cause of liberty in such a country as which we possess are invincible by any force which with our enemy can send against us. Besides, sir, we shall not fight our battles alone. There is a just God who presides over the destiny of nations and who will rise up friends to fight our battles for us. The battle, sir, is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, to the active, to the brave. Besides, sir, we have no election. If we were base enough to desire it, it is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat, but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sir, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The next gale that sweeps in from the north will bring to our ears the clashing resound of arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why we stand here idle? What is it that gentlemen would want? Is peace so sweet to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Mr. Toastmaster.